Hey, it's 12:15 and it is a beautiful Tuesday, May 24th in Oakland, California. And getting started with our 12:15 mindfulness practice, having the opportunity to get your mind right today in under 15 minutes. And it is a great opportunity to simply sit and be for a moment today. And it's a great opportunity for me to get my co-founder, David Walker, dialed in as well and have him be with us. All right. So I'm Sonia Russell, co-founder and CEO of Special Sauce. And today is another great day for practice. David L. Walker Jr. is my co-founder. Seems technology is doing what technology sometimes does. And so I'm going to move into our practice. If you are just meeting Blackfulness, we are a mindfulness app designed for and by Black folks with stress reduction and healing justice in mind. And while this app is focused on the Black experience, it's not exclusionary. We believe that everybody, or everybody, as my co-founder would say, needs what we got. And today we are having a practice about observing difficult emotions. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot of anniversaries coming up. The impact of that trauma on our lives and on our psyches and on our minds and on our mental health is real. And so it's important for us to honor that and in some cases do our best not to allow those emotions to let us get too caught up. And we also want to lift up that the trauma and the heartbreak and the PTSD is real. And so if you are really struggling, we want to make sure that you know that you're not alone. Please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255 is the number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And in crisis, you can also text TALK to 741-741. The point is to get help because you are not alone. And so because it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and that is why we're here every day getting into this practice, we want to remind you that we're here at 12:15 Pacific every day to get our mind right in under 15 minutes. You can be with us on all the socials, Blackfulness, 2Ls. Make sure that you're with us and that you're spending time in community with us. As we do with all of our practices, we're going to start with 3 deep breaths. We're going to breathe in through the nose. We're going to hold for as long as is comfortable, and then we're going to slowly exhale. And we'll do that 3 times before we get into our practice. And here we're leaning into the noise of life, knowing that it's important for us to have the skills to be able to get grounded and centered no matter what's going on around us. And so as we settle down, we invite you into our first breath. Breathe in. Hold it. And release. Our second breath, breathe in. Hold it. And release. And our third breath, breathe in. Hold it. And release. And so now we are leaning into our practice of observing difficult emotions.
Observing difficult emotions. This exercise can help when you're having an emotion that's uncomfortable or unpleasant. When starting out with this practice, pick a time when you're having an emotion that's strong enough that you recognize you're having it, but not so strong that you're feeling overwhelmed by it. After you get some practice with this exercise, you may want to try it with stronger emotions. For this practice, sit or lie down. Close your eyes or keep your eyes open. If you keep your eyes open, let your eyes relax and your gaze fall in front of you. Now, take a moment to turn your attention to something that's troubling you. This can be something that's not the way you want it to be. If you're just starting to practice this exercise, it's best to choose something that's not huge or too intense, but something you have a definite reaction to. The situation can be a relationship issue, an issue at work, a setback, or a health problem. Maybe there's an inconsiderate neighbor or coworker you've been having issues with. Or maybe there's something that you don't like about yourself. There's no wrong choice. Whatever you choose is going to be right for this practice. Once you've identified a situation or issue, see if you can identify the emotion you're experiencing. Is there anger, fear, sadness, impatience, confusion? What would you call it? If you're having more than one emotion, just pick one at this time. If you're having trouble identifying the emotion, sit for a moment and pay attention to your physical sensations and thoughts. For example, when we're angry, our bodies tend to feel hot and tense. When we're sad, we may feel fatigue and have low energy. Ultimately, see if you can give a name to an emotion you are having. Now that you've identified the emotion, imagine putting that emotion 5 feet in front of you. Imagine that for just a few minutes, you're going to put the emotion outside of yourself so that you can look at it. Allow yourself just a bit of distance so that you can observe the emotion. Now that the emotion is out in front of you, answer the following questions. If your emotion had a size, what size would it be? If your emotion had a shape, what shape would it be? If your emotion had a color, what color would it be? Is there a texture, weight, movement, or anything else you can observe about the emotion? Once you've answered these questions, imagine the emotion out in front of you. It has the size, shape, color, and any other attributes you gave it. Just watch it for a few moments and recognize it for what it is. When you're ready, let the emotion return to its original place inside you. Notice what it feels like to allow the emotion to return inside of you. Now that we're at the end of this practice, take a moment to reflect on what you noticed about your experience. Did you notice any change in the emotion when you got a little distance from it? What about changes to your reaction to the emotion? Were you surprised by its size, shape, and color? As we finish, we invite you to practice this exercise several times a week. After a month, see if you notice any changes in how you relate to your emotions, and if it helps you to be more accepting of your emotions over time.
So let's take a final breath to allow this practice to be grounded. We're going to breathe in through the nose, hold for as long as is possible, and then exhale. Breathe in and hold it. And release. So if you have the time to spend simply continuing to be still and allowing yourself that space, then I invite you to give yourself that time. Self-care is not selfish. It is required for us to succeed in our lives. And if you have to get back to what you were doing, back into your work day or your study day, whatever that happens to be, we invite you to get back into it because it doesn't take all day to get your mind right. The key is consistency. And so we're grateful to have had you with us today. And we are hopeful that we will see you again tomorrow as we continue our honoring of Mental Health Awareness Month. Remember, our iPads are back. Have a great day.